We all know that the Bible is one of the most sacred texts in human history. But did you know that an archaeological discovery completely changed how we understand the Bible? A discovery from ancient scrolls, buried for thousands of years beneath the Dead Sea. What secrets do these scrolls reveal that no one had ever known before? And how have they changed the way we read and understand the books of the Bible? For centuries, we've relied on the Bible as our spiritual guide, yet it's always been a text that has been passed down through generations, often through oral tradition and later written manuscripts. But what if the ancient copies of the Bible that we knew so well were not the complete or final versions? What if the Bible as we know it has undergone changes that we were never aware of? The Dead Sea Scrolls, an accidental discovery by a group of Bedouin shepherds, opened up an entirely new chapter in biblical studies and archaeology. What they revealed went far beyond just ancient manuscripts. It offered us new insights into the history of Christianity, Judaism, and human understanding of Scripture. Welcome to Biblical Journey. Today we will explore one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and dive deep into how these ancient scrolls have transformed our understanding of the Bible. Stay tuned, as these mysterious stories will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. In the spring of 1947, a group of Bedouin shepherds stumbled upon something strange while searching for food for their livestock near the Dead Sea. Little did they know that they had just discovered one of the greatest archaeological treasures in human history, the Dead Sea Scrolls. This wasn't the beginning of a simple archaeological dig or a planned excavation. It was an accidental find, but one that would go on to shake the foundations of biblical scholarship. The shepherds were simply trying to find a lost goat when they discovered a cave filled with ancient scrolls. These scrolls were found in caves in the Qumran area, near the Dead Sea. In total, over 900 scrolls and fragments of paper were discovered, many of which were copies of books from the Hebrew Bible, while others were important religious and historical documents from that period. The scrolls were written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, providing scholars with a vast treasure trove of ancient languages and texts that had never before been accessible. These scrolls were written on goat skins or papyrus and were stored in clay jars. This method of storage preserved the texts through centuries, allowing them to survive the ravages of time, war, and other destructive forces. Archaeologists estimate that these scrolls date from the 2nd century BCE to the 1st century CE, a period that is crucial in understanding the development of Jewish thought, the Hebrew Bible, and the early Christian texts. The Dead Sea Scrolls are not just an ordinary archaeological discovery. They contain copies of books from the Hebrew Bible, allowing researchers to compare ancient texts with the modern versions of the Bible we use today. But what's more fascinating is how these scrolls offer a new perspective on the Bible and its origins. For centuries, scholars had relied on the Masoretic text, a medieval version of the Hebrew Bible, as the standard. This version, completed around the 10th century CE, had been the most widely used and accepted. But with the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, we now had ancient manuscripts that were much older, shedding new light on how the Bible has evolved over time. The scrolls revealed that many parts of the modern Bible have remained remarkably intact over thousands of years. However, there were significant differences between the ancient texts and the ones that we know today. Some of these differences were minor, such as variations in spelling or grammar, while others were more substantial, including changes in wording or the inclusion of additional passages. For example, the Isaiah scroll found in the Dead Sea Scrolls is very similar to the modern version of Isaiah in the Bible, but with a few minor differences. These differences not only help us understand the process of compiling the Bible, but also shed light on subtle variations in meaning within the translations. Some scholars believe these differences reflect the diverse traditions that existed within the Jewish community at the time. Furthermore, the discovery of the scrolls has given us insight into the development of certain books of the Bible that were previously shrouded in mystery. The scrolls contain previously unknown versions of biblical texts, revealing that the process of compiling and editing the Bible was far more complex and fluid than we had originally believed. In addition to biblical copies, the Dead Sea Scrolls also contain other texts that we had never known before. These scrolls provide deep insight into the different religious groups and ideas within the Jewish community at the time. The discovery of these non-biblical texts has helped scholars understand the diversity of religious thought in the period between the Old and New Testaments. One of the most remarkable discoveries is the Community Rule Scroll, a document that describes in detail the beliefs, laws, and rituals of the Qumran community. This was a Jewish sect that lived in isolation, distinct from the mainstream Jewish communities of the time. They were known for their strict observance of religious laws and their belief in the imminent arrival of the Messiah. The Qumran community was unlike any other Jewish group of the time. Their lifestyle was centered on purity and ritual, and they had a profound impact on the development of early Christianity. Their emphasis on the coming of the Messiah and the end times was closely related to the teachings of Jesus and the early Christian movement. Another key discovery was the War Scroll, a text that describes an apocalyptic battle between the forces of good and evil, with the victorious group ushering in the coming of God's kingdom. This text offers a unique perspective on Jewish apocalyptic thought and helps us understand the expectations that some Jews had for the Messiah during the time leading up to the rise of Christianity. The Dead Sea Scrolls have not only changed how we understand the Bible, but also offer us a clearer picture of the history and culture of the Jewish people during the Second Temple period. The scrolls provide important context for the events that shaped the religious and political landscape of the time. These scrolls provide insights into historical events such as the Roman Empire's invasion, as well as internal conflicts within the Jewish community in the 1st century CE. These documents give us a window into the turmoil and struggles that defined the period leading up to the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE. Notably, the scrolls highlight the divisions between different Jewish sects, including the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essenes, each of whom had their own interpretation of Jewish law and beliefs. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls has allowed historians to trace the roots of many of these religious divisions, offering a clearer picture of how they shaped the religious environment in which Christianity emerged. The scrolls also provide valuable evidence of the Jewish resistance to Roman rule, including the Zealot movement, which was a radical faction that fought against the Romans in the Jewish War. By examining these texts, scholars have gained a better understanding of the political climate and religious fervor that fueled the Jewish revolt and contributed to the rise of Christianity. The Dead Sea Scrolls are more than just an archaeological discovery. They have opened a new chapter in the study of religion, culture, and history. These scrolls have given us the ability to rewrite parts of our understanding of ancient Jewish culture, early Christianity, and the evolution of biblical texts. Today, scholars continue to study and analyze the Dead Sea Scrolls, and each new discovery adds another layer of understanding to this fascinating historical puzzle. The scrolls have inspired a new generation of researchers and theologians, prompting fresh questions about the origins of the Bible, the role of religious groups in the ancient world, and the development of religious thought. With every new scroll that is discovered, we gain another crucial piece to understanding a pivotal period in human history. The Dead Sea Scrolls have truly reshaped our understanding of the Bible and the history of the ancient world, offering new perspectives and challenges to long-held beliefs. The Dead Sea Scrolls are among the most significant archaeological finds of the 20th century, providing new insights into the religious practices and beliefs of the time. These scrolls, which were discovered in the Qumran caves near the Dead Sea, contain a variety of Jewish texts, including biblical manuscripts, hymns, and teachings. Their impact on religious studies cannot be overstated. Scholars have spent decades analyzing the texts, which have provided an unprecedented window into the religious landscape of ancient Israel and the early development of both Judaism and Christianity. Before the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, much of what we knew about ancient Judaism came from later sources. However, the scrolls gave scholars a direct link to the past, allowing them to study the religious environment that existed just before and during the time of Jesus Christ. Among the most important revelations from the scrolls was the discovery that the concept of the Messiah, which plays such a central role in Christianity, was already present in Jewish thought centuries before Jesus. This fact deepens our understanding of how early Christians might have perceived Jesus' claim to be the Messiah. Furthermore, the scrolls highlighted the diversity of Jewish religious life at the time. We know that the Jewish community was not a monolith. It was divided into different sects, each with its own beliefs and practices. The Pharisees, Sadducees, Essenes, and Zealots all had distinct interpretations of Jewish law and tradition. The scrolls, particularly those associated with the Essenes, offer a glimpse into one of these groups, showing how their beliefs differed from those of other Jewish sects. The Essenes, for example, had an apocalyptic worldview and believed that the end times were imminent. They also had unique interpretations of the Hebrew Scriptures, some of which closely align with the teachings found in the New Testament. One of the most significant contributions of the Dead Sea Scrolls is the way they have altered our understanding of the history of Judaism and Christianity. Before their discovery, scholars tended to view the history of ancient Judaism as relatively uniform, with a single set of beliefs shared by all Jews. However, the scrolls revealed that this was far from the case. They showed that Jewish society in the time of Jesus was marked by a great deal of religious diversity. There were different theological schools of thought, and not all Jews agreed on what the Messiah would be or when he would appear. The Dead Sea Scrolls helped clarify the differences between the various Jewish sects of the Second Temple period. For instance, the Pharisees, who are frequently mentioned in the New Testament, were a group that believed in the resurrection of the dead and the existence of angels, ideas that were not accepted by the Sadducees, who represented the more aristocratic and priestly class. The Essenes, on the other hand, were a monastic group that lived in isolation and practiced a strict interpretation of Jewish law. They believed that the arrival of the Messiah would coincide with the end of the world and the establishment of God's kingdom. By examining the scrolls, scholars have gained a deeper understanding of the theological debates and divisions within Judaism during this period. For example, the scrolls have shed light on the Essenes' unique view of the Messiah. Unlike the more mainstream Jewish sects, who expected the Messiah to be a political or military leader, the Essenes saw the Messiah as a spiritual figure who would purify the world and bring about a new age. This apocalyptic view of the Messiah is similar to the way early Christians viewed Jesus' second coming. Despite their immense scholarly value, the Dead Sea Scrolls have been the subject of controversy since their discovery. Some scholars argue that the scrolls should not be used to rewrite our understanding of the Bible, while others believe they offer crucial new perspectives on the text. One of the main points of contention is whether the Dead Sea Scrolls should be considered the original versions of the biblical texts, or whether they represent divergent interpretations of the Scriptures. The scrolls contain versions of books from the Hebrew Bible, but many of these versions differ from the ones that became canonical in both Judaism and Christianity. For example, the scrolls contain versions of Isaiah, Psalms, and Deuteronomy that are sometimes significantly different in wording and content. Some scholars argue that these differences suggest that the Bible as we know it today was not always fixed, and that the texts evolved over time. Others, however, believe that these variations were simply different traditions that existed alongside the canonical scriptures, but were ultimately rejected by mainstream religious groups. Another area of debate concerns the relationship between the Dead Sea Scrolls and early Christian writings. Some scholars have suggested that there are striking parallels between the teachings found in the scrolls and the teachings of Jesus and his disciples. For example, both the Qumran community and early Christians emphasized repentance, the coming of the kingdom of God, and the importance of personal righteousness. This has led some to speculate that early Christianity may have been influenced by the ideas found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Others, however, argue that these similarities are coincidental and that the scrolls should not be viewed as a direct precursor to Christian thought. For modern Jews, the Dead Sea Scrolls are not just historical artifacts. They are a vital link to their religious and cultural heritage. The scrolls provide insight into the beliefs and practices of their ancestors and offer a direct connection to the ancient Jewish world. The discovery of the scrolls has deepened Jewish understanding of their own history and traditions, shedding light on how their religious beliefs evolved over time. One of the most significant aspects of the scrolls is their portrayal of the diversity within ancient Jewish thought. The scrolls reveal that Judaism in the Second Temple period was not a single, monolithic religion, but rather a collection of different sects with varying beliefs about the nature of God, the role of the Messiah, and the purpose of religious rituals. This diversity within ancient Judaism mirrors the diversity within modern Judaism, and many Jews find it inspiring to see how their ancestors grappled with similar theological questions. For example, the discovery of the scrolls has helped clarify the development of Jewish messianic thought. The belief in a coming Messiah was central to many Jewish sects during the Second Temple period, and the scrolls show that this expectation was not only a Christian invention. For Jews today, this discovery is important because it reinforces the idea that their faith has deep roots in ancient history and that the concept of the Messiah is not limited to Christianity, but is also an essential part of Jewish tradition. As scholars continue to study the Dead Sea Scrolls, new discoveries are being made that promise to deepen our understanding of the ancient world. Researchers are using modern technology, such as digital imaging and 3D scanning, to examine the fragile scrolls in unprecedented ways. These advances are allowing scholars to read fragments that were previously unreadable and to uncover hidden meanings within the texts. One of the most exciting developments in Dead Sea Scrolls research is the ongoing effort to decode the many fragments that remain. Thousands of pieces of scrolls have been discovered, and while many of them have been identified and catalogued, others are still being analyzed. Some of these fragments may contain new teachings or perspectives that could further illuminate the religious practices and beliefs of the time. In the coming years, it is likely that new discoveries will continue to shape our understanding of the history of Judaism and Christianity. The Dead Sea Scrolls offer a unique opportunity to explore the development of religious thought and practice in the ancient world, and their study promises to provide important insights into the origins of two of the world's largest religions. The Dead Sea Scrolls are not just important for their religious significance, they are also a testament to the progress of human knowledge and intellectual curiosity. These ancient texts have allowed us to peer into the distant past, uncovering the thoughts and beliefs of people who lived thousands of years ago. They remind us that the pursuit of knowledge is an ongoing journey, and that even in the darkest times, the light of discovery can illuminate the way forward. The scrolls also demonstrate the importance of preserving cultural heritage. By protecting these fragile artifacts, we are ensuring that future generations will be able to study and learn from them. The study of the Dead Sea Scrolls is not just an academic exercise, it is an effort to preserve the history and beliefs that have shaped our world. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the Dead Sea Scrolls, we gain not only a better understanding of the past, but also a deeper appreciation for the diversity of religious and cultural traditions that have shaped human civilization. The scrolls offer us a glimpse into the religious world of ancient Israel, and through them, we can learn more about the roots of both Judaism and Christianity. So, what do you think about the Dead Sea Scrolls and their impact on our understanding of the Bible? Could these discoveries change the way we view religion and history? Don't forget to like and share this video if you found this information interesting. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss future videos about fascinating historical and religious discoveries. Leave your questions and thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.